episode that we're recording live. I don't know. Let's see if other people will be here. This is just an experiment, like we do so many things that we then can share with you folks, with our coaches, and share the experience. And if it works, we're gonna experiment more with this. Hi Kendra. So cool to have you here.
We had it on our list of things to try out, and then we had some topics bubble up this week, and so we thought, hey, let's make it happen.
Cool. All right. Well, the topic of today's conversation for Better Habits is like what's happening, what's working, what's going on, what are some of the global trends. And I think we want to talk kind of broad, like in general, in the world, and how it affects us coaches and the coaching business, but also in a smaller scale, what's going on in the marketing, digital marketing, again, how coaches can leverage, and maybe a little bit about, again, the coaching itself, and what's working, and how coaches can adjust to those trends, right?
Sounds good. It my end cut out for a little bit, but I know where you were headed. And I think it's been interesting. You're in conversation with coaches a ton. I'm in conversation with clients more these days, just in our different roles, whether that's synchronous talking to them or via our different feedback forms. And so I think I've seen some interesting trends. And when we were both kind of noting the trends that we were seeing, I thought it was interesting how there was quite a bit of overlap in that. So let's talk about the big picture, and that is, summer is a slower season, for most types of coaching. Businesses are in a different season. We're in vacations. We're spending time with our kiddos or our family. August is perhaps the deepest of the dips, and then September, mid-September comes roaring back with activity as folks realize that hey, the end of the year is coming. I probably have some annual goals. Kids are back at school. Things are settled. Now let's take off. So clients, we call it habit season. Everybody thinks it's January, but I think fall, from what we've seen, is a busier season than the first of the year at times, or at least equal. But certainly this fall, we've got all kinds of world dynamics to deal with that impact coaches directly, that impact what our clients are looking for, in terms of the type of coaching or the topics that they're interested in. So really we've got a collision this year of multiple different macro and some micro trends that I think it might be helpful for coaches to be aware of and be intentional about how they want to move through it. I don't know that there's any magic answers, but for each of us, we can think, acknowledge them, think about them, and then think about how we want to move through.
No, absolutely. I think, in our line of work, in our industry, right, we do have seasonality, and it's very clear with the years. We kind of see it again and again. Like you said, summer is usually the slowest season. Now we're getting into autumn, and I think October, November, and slightly maybe December, like these are intense month, right? People kind of, oh my God, it's almost the end of the year. Like if we get in our client's head, oh my God, it's almost the end of the year. I want to get maximum. I want to get, I want to accomplish my goals. I want to do something. So they're in the action mode. And I think we have to take, advantage of that in a good sense, right? Then there will be natural slowdown as we see that December is more like a holiday season. Things slow down, the family time, and then probably the biggest, and then the biggest peak, right, Kendra? January, everybody's wanting to change their life, adopt new habits, change, even, start a business, start a project, change it. I mean, you name it, right? Again, it's one of the time, January, where we have to meet our people when they're ready, and I think that's when they're ready. And right now, I think you're probably kind of late for the autumn wave, right? But you can get ready for the January wave. That's how I would see it. Get everything ready.
Well, I agree. I agree. And I would say the number of, so I get an email every time a client marks a coach as unhelpful. And I have
Mm,
to tell you that in the last 2 to 3 weeks, the proportion of coaches that are just simply not responding is astronomically high. And then we've got to go check in with those
mm,
coaches and say, hey, what's going on? Are you still coaching? Do you not want to coach? Do we need to turn off your availability so that you can't get a new client? If you're at war, or if you're or in a country that is at war, or you're in Florida getting hammered by a hurricane,
mm.
um, I understand that it may not be on the coach's top 10 list to go turn off their availability with us, but somehow as a platform, we've got to detect that so that the clients that are ready aren't going to sign up with coaches that frankly aren't in a position to coach, whether it's a disaster level or just a personal, a personal kind of a thing. So I do think um, there's also a dynamic of clients knocking on the door and coaches not ready to answer the door for whatever reason that might be. And I think as a platform, we've got to figure it out, because it's not a great client. It's not a great client experience when that happens, and we may lose a customer to the platform forever if they knock on a coach's door and there's not a response.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I'm not saying it. Probably, track back from, like, you cannot jump this wave, right? If clients are coming, and that's what we see, that clients are coming because right now that's what they want. They want to start something. They want to achieve things. They want to knock out some goals before the year ends. So, don't miss that. But in terms of being strategic, in terms of being proactive, that's what we are doing as a company, and that's what we recommend coaches do right now, is kind of prepare, plan how you're going to meet your biggest high season of the year, which is January.
Absolutely. So you're right. I mean, if you're already positioned to be getting clients, get them right, and treat them well. I mean, the first rule of growing your business is take care of the
Yeah.
clients you already have. And then I think what you want to talk about is, if you don't have that problem, uh, what can you do to get ready for the next season, which is right around the corner. And I think you've got some really specific ideas and recommendations right around that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But before we do that, I wanna talk about two. I guess we discussed beforehand just a couple of trends that we notice, and these are bigger kind of macro trends that I think we have to adjust to. And one of them that we constantly discuss is the volatility of the kind of just the world. The economic situation, or even the physical security in some of the places, and impacts impacts people's behavior, that impacts people's ability, and willingness to buy some extra stuff, if it is considered extras, right? So people start looking differently at how they spend, on what they spend money on, right? Or what they invest into. So I think it just puts even more pressure on how well we as coaches can present our services, our products, our coaching packages, because I think people cut back on kind of things that are nice to have and that are, they would be willing to spend before. So right now we have to be even more, because of that, even more sharp on what problem we're solving, what are we helping with, what goal we're helping to achieve, and what specifically it's going to entail. Yeah, I think it becomes like even more important that we are very sharp and very clear. What would you say?
I'm having all kinds of technical
Ooh,
difficulties on my side. We had
okay,
prepared, so I sort of know what you're saying, but I'm getting about every fifth word, so I kind of have to guess when you starting off, and I don't know which end
ooh,
the technical difficulties are on, but this one is challenging a little bit. But
okay,
I agree that we've got to really think about our relevance, and that we talk about the coaching triangle, that we're being thoughtful of the who, when we identify our who, that we're being thoughtful of, is this a goal that they're actually aiming for in a time like now, right? And maybe it is, and maybe it isn't, right? I think some goals get more importance, and other goals get less importance, or you've really got to explain why your goals should have importance, and you've got to be on podcasts, and you've got to be out on social media, helping to educate people that yeah, when the world feels volatile, you may not think your health is important, and you may think it's okay to just neglect your health. You're just worried about getting through this season. But what may not realize is that if you neglect your health, it may take you another decade to recover from that on the other side, hypothetically. There may be things that feel like, well, they're not important right now. I'm in survival mode. Yeah. But as a coach, maybe let's help you pull out of that a little bit. So I do think coaches have to be aware, especially if they're thinking about their who's, what is it that client, you call it the camcorder method, visualize a day as that client, and what are they struggling with, what's real for them, and what ties into a real pain point that coaches can help solve. Because I do think it's counterintuitive. We think we only can use coaching when we're doing great, when in fact coaching is actually way more helpful on the worst days of our life, to kind of pull up the bottom of that. And so, but I think coaches, we have to explain, how that can be true, and that we can pace our coaching. I mean, something we talk about all the time, that we can pace our coaching in a way that people can actually, dance with it and move forward. If we're zooming ahead faster than what our clients or our cohorts can embrace, then it adds more stress, because then they just feel more and more behind in a situation that probably already wasn't fun.
yeah, no, exactly. All right, so I don't know. Again, this is an experiment. I hope, I hope we have the recording of that. If not, we'll probably have to repeat. But let's hope that goes well. So just wrapping up with that, and just kind of building on what Kendra said, that you have to offer something that is not only kind of works, like you said, for growth, but also addressing some of the pains that people might be having right now, some of the challenges. And that's why it's important to have the coach portfolio that we keep talking about, these various coaching packages, that is different modalities of coaching, right? That we're able to offer through Coachdotme platform, the chat-based coaching, which is very affordable. And again, I think this is, now is the time where it's, even more than ever very relevant because of its affordability, because of its convenience, and people being able to use it even when they very busy, when you don't have to find time in your busy calendar. So kind of bridging it in, that's what we want. We want to help you guys. We want to help coaches who are already on the platform and who would like to join. We want to offer a program, a marketing intensive, right, where we want to help you prepare for the biggest season. And the program is actually, we think, is going to be beneficial both for the new coaches and for existing coaches. New coaches, they will be able to build the basics, build the foundation, and the existing coaches will be able to review in a structured way what they already have in terms of the offering, in terms of the marketing systems, processes, and upgrade it to what's working today. Update and upgrade to what's working today. The intensive is starting 22nd October. There will be a link down below. I'm not going to go through a lot of details, but it's very structured 8-week program where there will be a small part of it each session where we'll go through some of the trends, some of the basics, some of the what's working now, and then majority of time we're not gonna focus on implementation. It's gonna be, as always, is as all of our programs, we're gonna be doing things. Think about it as a co-working where giving feedback, getting feedback, sharing, drafting, because that's where. And I think you coaches should take that kind of as an example and use it in your own practice. Because I think, again, if we're talking about trends, no longer people are interested in knowledge. No longer there is a lack of information. It's all out there. What people need, they need help implementing. They need help keeping them accountable. They need motivation. They need support. They need community. That's why cohort-based groups, masterminds, that's all what we are doing with Coachdotme. And you can, come and join us. Let's prepare to, the biggest wave that coming in through this marketing intensive.
Great point. And I think you're so spot on, again, in a macro trend, and something we've tried to adopt, or we've adopted a long time ago and have intensified over the years, is that applied learning. Learning without, if you're just learning for the sake of learning, it can be fun, but a lot of folks, we don't feel like we have time for that. It can almost be overwhelming. But if you can show folks how to apply it and to make those gains. And so we do try to develop most of our curriculum in a way so that you learn it and then you apply it right away. There's such beauty in that. And it's so fun. I'm thinking of 3 or 4 coaches right now that have done a fantastic job of that and have packed webinars and packed. I mean, when you embrace what people are craving and demanding, they show up and they want to be a part of it, and so it might take a minute to unlock that and find your recipe, but they're there. Folks are still, participating in what we're doing. We've had folks that on our Saturday, it's 9 a.m. here in America, and we have folks tuning in from midnight in Malaysia, to to be there. So if folks value what you're doing, they absolutely will show up. And so we've got to communicate it in a compelling way, and so that folks value it and understand it, and it's easy for them to do that. I love your boot camps. I'm going to call it that. I like the word intensive. That's a classier word, but I know for me it feels like a boot camp. I'm going to take it because I don't coach necessarily as much anymore, but I do have some refreshing I need to do on some of my my communication, my external communication, and I think it can work for that as well. I love the the structured approach where we learn something and then we apply it right away and then have time to refine it all week before we learn something new. I think that's fabulous.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And we're gonna use and we're gonna leverage all the trends that are out there that we didn't mention because I'm trying kind of to keep it short today. But obviously, AI is a big trend now. The question is like, it's not going to substitute us coaches, or at least not in our world, not in our platform, right? We proudly say this is human to human connection. However, we must use AI, right? Because it can help us, especially in the content creation, in the marketing, in so many ways. So it's going to be part of the intensive because it can help us streamline, optimize, make things much more effective. So we are going to use that. And again, this shorter learning modules, again, we're going to use it. So, so we're not just telling you what are the trends, but we're also showing through our own programs how we're using them and then how you can use them. So we're going to use all the trends. We're staying up to date and we want to help you upgrade your game, update your processes, make them, optimize, automate, so that you get ready to successful 2025.
I love it. Gosh, right around the corner. That even sounds funny, but
unbelievable.
So true. And I'm glad we can be responsive and put this together. And I'm glad we have an initial cohort of coaches that are ready to go. That's a lot of fun and guarantees it'll be a great experience for other folks that want to jump in. Like you said, you've got the link below. I think you've even got an early bird period going on. Accessibility is one of our top values. So, we keep pricing, if you compare it in the marketplace, I think very affordable, very accessible. It's something we think is important, goes with the quote that talent is equally distributed. Access is not. And so we do our best to level that access playing field for coaches and for clients. And I so appreciate, Lydia, that you put things together that work in that framework. I think it's important for us to live our values in that. And if folks have questions, coaching at Coachdotme gets us all. And we'll do future podcast episodes if we need to, or recordings, or join us on any of the major platforms.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kendra, for being here with me, and hope to see you folks. All right.
Thank you.